Hey everyone, and welcome. In this video, we are going to learn about data gathering and organizing, mean, median, and mode. The first topic that will be discussed is data. Data are factual information gathered through various methods like surveys, record-keeping, experiments. These recordings are processed and used for reasoning and explaining current conditions. Data can be obtained from many sources. These are the example of data types. First, inflation rate, the rate at which prices of commodities increase. This is a single calculated value derived from other data. Charts, visual representations of data. Charts make it easier to understand complex data sets. Raw data, information that has not yet been organized or processed. This is the initial unrefined form of data before analysis. Frequency distribution, a summary of how often different values appear in a dataset. It shows the number of observations within specific intervals. Difference between ungrouped and grouped data. Ungrouped data, a simple list of individual observation without any organization or grouping. It's the raw, unprocessed form of data. Grouped data, data that has been organized into intervals or categories. This makes it easier to analyze and understand patterns in large data sets. For example, instead of a long list of individual grades, group data might show the number of people in grades ranges like this. For example, this is ungroup science test scores from a class of 30 students. So first, we need to determine the difference between highest and the lowest observation. The highest is 96 and the lowest is 75. Make a table and determine the desired number of intervals. 5 to 7 intervals are commonly used. Divide the difference of the highest and the lowest by the desired number of interval. This will be the size of the interval. Construct the interval, and last, tally the observation.
And ngayon naman, proceed naman tayo sa next topic, which is the different types of graphs and charts. The first one is the histogram. Histogram is a graph having the midpoints of a class interval in the x-axis and the frequency of each class interval in the y-axis. Mga histogram ay ginagamit natin kung gusto natin gawing graphical display ang ating mga numerical data using bar or different heights. Kagaya lang din ito ng bar graphs, but instead of categorical variable ang ginagamit, sa histogram ay gumagamit tayo ng mga numerical continuous data. I will be giving an example kung paano gumawa ng histogram. Tulad lamang nung naunang topic ay gagamit lang din ako ng frequency distribution table sa paggawa nito. One of the examples I'll be using to make a histogram is the height of 6th grade students in a centimeter. Ang lahat ng mga numbers dyan ay mga heights ng students in centimeter. And yung first step na kailangan natin gawin bago tayo makagawa ng histogram using this given is to draw a frequency distribution table. So the first row in the frequency distribution table is the interval of the given example. And yung mga interval natin dito is yung first, the 130 to 134, 135 to 139, and 140 to 144. And next is 145 to 149. And last is the 150 to 155 centimeter. And next naman is yung tally. Dito sa tally is, ang kukunin natin yung mga bilang ng mga makikitang number na nakapaloob lamang sa interval. And the first one is the 130 to 134, which is yung tali niya is yung 132, kaya isa. And next naman is yung 135 to 139. Sa loob ng interval na to ay meron lamang makikita tatlong tali, which is yung mga 135 and 138 and another 138. Saan merong total of 1, 2, 3 tali. Next naman is yung 140 to 144, which have a tally of 140, 142, 140, 144, 143. Total of 5 tali. Next is 145 to 149, which has a tally of 145, 149, 146, and 145. Total of 4. And next is 150 to 155, and yung tali niya is 1, 2, and 3, which is yung 152, 153, and 154. And lastly is yung frequency. Frequency is katulad na ni siya ng tali, pero ito yung sangkabuang total ng interval. First frequency is the 1, next is 3, next is 5, and next is 4, and last one is 3. After nun is, pwede na tayo mag-proceed sa histogram. In histogram, we have the two lines, which is the horizontal and vertical line. This vertical line is the y-axis of the graph, and dito sa vertical line or sa y-axis ay nakalagay or matatagpuan yung mga frequency or yung mga bilang. And next naman is the horizontal line, which is the x-axis of the graph. Dito naman sa x-axis of the graph, dito makikita o matatagpuan yung interval, which is the height of students in a centimeter. After naman natin i-draw itong mga graphical line, dito na natin pwedeng i-input yung mga frequency, which is the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. After naman is yung interval, which is the 130 centimeter, 135 centimeter, 140 centimeter, 145 centimeter, and last is the 150 centimeter. Yung 130 centimeter natin is meron lamang siyang frequency of 1, kaya hanggang 1 lamang siya. Next is yung 135 na may frequency of 3, kaya hanggang sa may 3 lamang siya. And next is 140, which has a frequency of 5. Next naman is yung 145, which has a frequency of 4. And lastly is the 150 to 155, which has a frequency of 3. And that's it. The simply and easy way to make a histographical display. The histogram of heights of 6th grade students using in a centimeter.
So, for this topic, i-discuss ko naman yung about sa line graph. So, yung line graph, pwede din natin siyang tawagin na line chart. Visual representation siya ng nakapaloob na data kung paano ito nagbabago over time. And makikita nyo din sa line graph na may mga tuldok dito na magkakakonekta. And hindi lang siya basta-basta magkakakonekta, no? Siya yung nagpapakita kung anong nangyayari doon sa specific time. So, let's try to analyze this given example, no? We have student number in class. on different period for different teachers. So, take note sa nare-represent ng line nila, no? Sa color green is si Mrs. Smith, and sa blue line is si Mrs. Tally. And sa first period, si Mrs. Tally is merong 15 student. And si Mrs. Smith naman, merong 20 students. Second period is makikita natin nag-cross sila, which means same silang students nung second period, 18 student. And sa third naman, makikita natin yung pagbabago ng data dito, na kung saan sa first, si Mrs. Smith yung may maraming estudyante, and si Miss Tally yung may kakakonti. And pagdating sa third, si Miss Tally naman yung may pinakamaraming estudyante, and si Mrs. Smith yung may pinaka-kakonting estudyante during that period. Pagdating ng fourth, si Mrs. Tally, meron siyang 20 student. And si Mrs. Smith naman, siya ulit yung may maraming estudyante, which is 20 student. Pagdating ulit sa fifth period, si Mrs. Smith is may 15 student ulit, and si Miss Tally naman is may 21 student. So, obviously, may pagbabago kada period. And ganun nag-work yung line graph. Pinapakita niya kung paano nagbabago yung data sa specific time or period. So, isa lang to sa example, pwedeng maging example ng line graph, no? Kasi yung line graph is, pwede siyang paggamitan sa iba't ibang field. Lalong-lalo na sa math, rin sa finance, and sa iba't iba pang field. So, that's all for line graph. Thank you.
So, hi guys. Ang topic ko ngayon is pie chart. So, first, ano nga ba yung pie chart? Pie chart, it is a chart that uses a circle divided into sectors. It is used to show partitions of a whole quantity. So, yung pie chart is isa siyang bilog na hinahati ng mga section upang ipakita yung bahagi ng kabuuan. Ang bawat section ay kumakatawan sa isang kategorya at pinapakita ito sa porsyento. So, dadako naman tayo. Here's my example kung paano gumawa ng isang pie chart. So, meron tayong given. So, which is colors. Meron tayong blue, red, green, and yellow. And the next column natin is the frequency, which is the student number who likes the colors. So, sa first color natin, meron tayong 5 student. Then, the next color natin is meron tayong 10 student. And next is meron tayong 26 students. At yung last color natin ay meron tayong 19 student. So, una natin gagawin is ito-total natin muna lahat ng student. So, 5 plus 10 plus 26 plus 19 is meron tayong total of 60 student. So, ayun yung kinalabasan nung pinagsama-samang student na may gusto ng color. So, lilipat naman tayo sa degrees. So, sa isang bilog is meron tayong 360 degrees. And, para makuha yung degree per color is we need to divide the 360 degrees sa 60, which is the total of the student. So, 360 divided by 60 is meron tayong 6 degree. So, yung 6 degree na yon is nagre-represent siya sa isang estudyante. So, ang gagawin natin is ita-times natin yon sa student per color. So, sa first color natin is 5 times 6 degree is meron tayong 30 degree. Ganun lang din yung gagawin natin sa mga susunod na colors. So, sa red, meron tayong 10. 10 times 6 degree, meron tayong 60 degree. Sa susunod, 26. 26 times 6, meron tayong 156 degree. Wag na nyo kakalimutan yung lagyan na degree. Then, lastly, meron tayong yellow na 19. 19 times 6 is meron tayong 114 degree. So, kailangan nating itotal itong dapat yung nakuha natin na degree per color ay eksakto na 360. Kasi syempre, ang kinukuha nga natin is yung degree ng buong circle. So, 30 plus 60 plus 156 degree and 114 is meron tayong total of 360. So, next naman is para makuha natin yung percentage is ilalagay ko muna itong So, para naman makuha natin yung percentage, kagaya lang din yung ginawa natin sa una is sa isang bilog nire-represent niya is 100%. So, ang gagawin natin, i-divide lang ulit natin yung 100% sa total of the student, which is 60. So, 60 divided by 100 divided by 60, meron tayong 1.7% per student. So, kagaya lang ulit ng ginawa natin, yung total natin or yung equal natin 1.7, ta-times lang ulit natin sa number of the student per color. So, 1.7 times 5, meron tayong 8.5, then percent, sorry. So, next natin is yung red. So 10 times 1.7 is equals to 17%. So, ganun lang din ang gagawin natin sa mga natitira pa. So, 26 times 1.7 is meron tayong 44.2%. Then, last is 19 times 1.7 is meron tayong 32.3%. So, paano natin siya ilalagay sa sa chart, or paano tayo mag-i-slice dun sa mismong chart. So first, kumuha muna kayo ng protractor and mag-draw kayo ng bilog. Yung as in, yung bilog talaga, bilog na bilog. So, after that, pagka may bilog na kayo, kumuha kayo ng protractor at kung ano yung nakita nyong degree, or nakuha nyo yung degree, ayun lang yung ano nyo doon. So, for example, from here, sa first color natin is meron tayong 30 degree. So, here's the 30 degree. Ano lang natin siya. I-connect niya sa gitna, guys. Then, the next one is meron tayong 60 degree. Meron tayong 60 degree. Here's the 60 degree. Connect lang ulit natin sa center. Then, next natin is meron tayong 156. So, ito yung 156 natin. Then, last is yung yellow. 114. So, ito yung 100. Yan. So, yan lang natin siya. Connect lang ulit natin sa So, tapos na tayo mag-slice. So, next natin na gagawin is lalagay na natin yung nire-represent ng slice. So, first, meron tayong blue. Then, next natin is red. Then, next natin is green. Then, last is yellow. Then, saan na natin ngayon ilalagay yung nakuha nating mga percent per color. So, sa first color is meron tayong 8.5%. Then, the next color is meron tayong 17%. Next color natin is meron tayong 44.2%. And lastly, meron tayong 32.3%. 32.3%. So, ganun lang siya kadali kunin or gawin yung pie chart. So, I hope nakatulong yun sa inyo. And sana may natutunan kayo. Yun lang.
Bar graph. It is a graph that uses bars, vertical or horizontal, to show relationships between two variables. To solve a bar graph in terms of mean, median, and mode, you first need to analyze the data represented in the graph. To find the mean, you need to sum up all the values and divide by the total number of the values. To find the median, you need to arrange the data in order from smallest to largest and then find the middle value. Then last is to find the mode. You need to identify the value that appears most frequently in the data.
Mean, median, mode. Measures of central tendency. The measures of central tendency are often used to gauge the expected value of a particular data. For example, the grade of a particular student in most of his subjects falls somewhere his general average. The speed of the particular falls somewhere near its average speed. A central tendency is a value that gives a generalized characteristic of a
Mean is the average of a data set. There are two kinds of means, the population mean and the sample mean. Population mean is the average of all values in a population. Example of data: 2, 4, 6, and 8. To solve the population mean, summation of x divided by the number of data points. 2 plus 4 plus 6 plus 8 divided by 4 is equals to 20 divided by 4. 20 divided by 4 is equals to 5. So the population mean is 5. Next is sample mean. Sample mean is the average of all values in a sample drawn from a population. Example of data: 3, 5, 7, 8, and 10. To identify the sample mean, summation of x divided by the number of data points. 3 plus 5 plus 7 plus 8 plus 10 is equals to 33 divided by 5 is equals to 6.6. So 6.6 would be the sample mean. Median. For an ungrouped data, the median is the middle observation in a data provided that the data is arranged in ascending or descending order. Example number 1. Given data 7, 3, 9, 1, and 5. Bale, kailangan natin silang pagsunod-sunodin upang sa gayon ay hindi maapektuhan ang pagkuha ng ating median at maging accurate ang ating data. Batay sa pagkakaayos, ang naging gitna o ang data na papunta sa gitna is number 5, which is siya ang magiging median natin. Dahil 4 data points lang siya and 2 data ang napapunta sa gitna, pagpaplasin natin sila and i-divide natin sa 2. 6 plus 8 divided by 2 is equals to 7. Mode. The mode is the most frequently occurring data. Example number 1. Given data 3, 5, 7, 5, 9, 5, 10. Dahil number 5 ang umulit ng ilang beses, siya ang magiging mode natin. Single mode yung example number 1 dahil isang number or isang data lang ang umulit. Example number 2. Given data 4, 6, 6, 8, 8, 9. Bimodal mode ang number 2 dahil 2 data points ang umulit and silang dalawa ang magiging mode natin.
Data. Sa'yo yan. Kasi mag-explain mo lang dito. Plus 200 number of kaya naging 200. Tapos, ito na yung n. Tapos yung 200, i-divide sa 2. Nagiging 100. Tapos yung median class is 440 to 450. Tapos ang formula is median sample